Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, TutorAyodele. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you. So today we'll be looking at parametric equations, and to solve parametric equations, you use ChainRule formula. Although it may not be direct, but we use the idea of ChainRule formula. So for this question number 3, I've actually prepared videos on that. So watch my video on solving parametric equations using ChainRule. So watch my video on that. So I'm not going to solve it. I will only solve question 1 and 2. So for that question number 1, but before I write it, let me write out a ChainRule formula. ChainRule formula says that the y, the x equals to the y, the u times the u, the x. Now, there's something I want you to take note in this formula is that now, you will see the y dx here, the u dx. Now, let's say I say, okay, using this u, the u to cancel this, the u, what are we left with? We are left with what? The y over the what? The x, and which will be exactly the same thing as this. You understand now? So now, here now, it's not telling us, we don't have a function of y with respect to u, because this one is a function of y with respect to u, and this is another function of u with respect to x. So here now we don't have a function of y with respect to u, but we have a function of what? Y with respect to what? T. Okay, let me write the formula. Let's derive our formula now using this idea. The y, the x, because we are calculating for the y dx. Now, the y we have to come first, because we are looking for the y dx. Everything here must be equal to everything here. Like everything here must be equal to this. And now I go to do it, just as I've explained here, that the y the u times the u dx. Now this the u here can cancel this the u here. So we are not left with the y dx. Tell you that everything here will now be equal to this. So using this our own formula now, you know that we look for a function of y with respect to, here we don't have a function of y with respect to x, but we have a function of y with respect to c. So instead of me to write the y the u, I will now have to write what? The y, the t, because it's a function of y with respect to t, times, now here is a function of x with respect to t. Listen, here is a function of x with respect to t. If I say the x, the t, now notice that this t and this t cannot cancel each other because both of them are denominator here. So they are denominator here. They can't cancel each other. So what I need here is that the formula I need here is that it will be, instead of me to write the x dt, it will be what? The t over the what? The x. So that this dt can cancel this dt. We will now be left with what? The y, the x. But here, if you should differentiate x with respect to t, it will give you the x dt, not the t dx. But let's just solve. We will understand it better. So y equals to t minus t raised to the power of 3. Now we can differentiate the y dt to get this aspect. So let's differentiate the y dt equals to, now using general method of solving differentiations. If you don't understand it, watch my video on general method of solving differentiations. Here it's just like raised to the power of 1, and you use the power to multiply it, subtract 1 from the power. So here has the power of 1. 1 times t, it will still give you t. Okay, but here now, if you subtract 1 from the power, which is 1 here, yeah, you know, here is the same thing as t raised to the power of 1. Let me put it here. So if you use the 1 to multiply it, it will be 1 times. Now, if you subtract 1 from this one, it will give you 1 minus 1, and 1 minus 1 will give you 0. So t raised to the power of 0 will give you what? 1. Because any integer or any variable raised to the power of 0 will give you 1. So 1 times 1. So this one will give you 1 minus. Now, we want to differentiate this, t raised to the power of 3. So you use the power to multiply it, subtract 1 from the power. So here will be 3 times t. Now, if you now subtract 1 from the power, we are not left with what? 2. So here will give us 3. So here will give us 3t squared. So it will be 3t squared. Now, that is our dy dt. We have gotten the y dt. We are not left with dt dx. But we are going to get our dt dx from this. So we have an x equals to, please pay attention to this, t minus t squared. So let's differentiate the x dt first. To avoid any form of unnecessary confusions. So let's differentiate our the x dt first. Let's differentiate it. So our the x dt equals to, now using general method, here is the same thing as t raised to power 1. Use the 1 to multiply it to give you 1 times, here we are left with t raised to power 1. You subtract 1 from the power minus 1. So here will give you 1 t raised to power times t raised to power of 1 minus 1 will give you 0. So t raised to power 0 will give you what? 1. That will be 1 times 1. So it will still give you 1. So here using general method minus c squared, you use this 2 to multiply it. Use to multiply this t, subtract 1 from it, that will be 2 minus 1. So here we are only left with what? 2. 2 minus 1 will give you what? 1. So t raised to power 1 is same thing as t. So you can write it like that. So here we have 2t. Now, if you should look at it, this is our the x dt, not the t dx. So I want to get our dt dx from this side. So if I should, this one can also be written in this way. Of course, you know that 2 over 1 is same thing as 2. So if I say 100 over 1 is same thing as 100. So anything that you divided by 1, any number that is being divided by 1, or any integer that is being divided by 1, or any term that is being divided by 1, we still give you that particular term itself. So this is the same thing as this. So now what I want to do is that I want to bring this dt up, bring this dx down. I will now bring this one up, bring this one down. So it will now give me dt over the x equals to 1 over 1 minus 2t. I hope you are following. So I've gotten my dt dx now, which is this, given to be 1 over 1 minus 2t. So let me substitute to the formula. We have the y dx equals to the y dt. What is our dy dt? Our dy dt is equals to what? 1 minus 3t squared times dt dx. Our dt dx is equals to what? 1 over 1 minus 2t. So if I should use this one to multiply this, it will still give me this. Here I have 1 minus 3t squared over 1 minus 2t. Okay, now our dy dx equals to, now we have the value of t is given to be what? 1. So let's substitute 1 into the value of t. We have 1 minus 3 into brackets 1 square. Of course, you know that this t is 1, so we have to put the square on top, over 1 minus 2 into brackets. What's our t? It's given to be what? 1. So this will give us 1 minus 3. Of course, you know that 1 square will give you 1. So 1 times 3 will still give you 3, over 1 minus 2 times 1 will give you 2. So here we are now left with what? 1 minus 3 will give you minus 2, over 1 minus 2 will give you minus 1. So we are now left with what? Minus cancel minus, 2 over 1 equals to what? 2 over 1 equals to 2. So that is our final answer for that, number 1. Our correct answer there is option C. Option C. All right, watch my video for question number 2. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.